Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
And we get the back view of him. And I mean, it's just a mega.
52 yards is a long shot. Magnum PI, what we named him. No idea.
Just a magnum.
Yeah, just a magnum.
Come on cam last year, we said probably 150, mid 150.
Yeah.
Same doe from the morning come out with that 9-pointer.
Here steps out this 90-inch 8-pointer. You're like,
I'm like, okay, well, there's still a buck back there grunting.
Yeah.
And then out steps like another 90-inch 8-pointer. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm like, deer, right there.
Yeah, like
and he's already
yards.
30 yards.
Yeah.
He was literally 5 yards from the base of the tree. Could have been, had a buck down at 1:40 in the afternoon, back there deep on public. 3 does come out pretty early. It was like 245, 24-yard shot, sent the combat veteran, and I tell you what, man, dude, it just smoked. We always get so jacked up when the other person kills. It's just almost like we got it done.
Yeah. And when you killed that doe, I was like, hell yeah, man.
And we come down here to Missouri.
My ass homie one more time. I'm like, is it a good buck? And he goes, yeah, real good, solid buck. I'm like, all right, boom. And the deer just drops. Sure. Super special to me.
Whitetail Legacy Podcast, bringing you back to the hunt and leaving a legacy. Baller Rut.
Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes, and we're talking October, mid-October to late October. Like I said, we're going to try to break down some tactic episodes for you guys, really get you juiced up for season before we get into this damn series that we've been hitting about forever.
Ooh.
Anyways, let's get into the people that make this possible, and we'll get into the show. Well, before I do that, we have Arron on from The Fall. If you guys haven't checked out his podcast, The Fall Podcast, make sure and check that out. A lot of good episodes on there. He just recorded with Heath a few weeks ago. Dude, super solid. They were combined. A lot of good intel on that one. Make sure and absorb that. A lot of good content. We've had Heath on a couple times. We want to have him on again. Yeah. Dude's just a legend. I absolutely love Heath. Such a solid dude, and I'm glad that podcasts are having him on and he's getting that out there because he's a guy that definitely should have more people following and absorbing his content than I think he does. So I just get into people make this possible. We're going to start off with Last Breath. If you guys want to watch this YouTube shit show of us recording podcasts, you can watch it on their YouTube at Last Breath TV. Every one of these podcasts are uploaded Zoom call-wise. Most of the time we have the guests on Zoom. Sometimes they're not able to make it happen on Zoom, so you just get to see our crispy faces. But if that's something that you want to do, you can check it out. Sometimes it's cool to get back and forth between a guest. It's definitely cool for us on Zoom.
I thought you were going to say, see me sit in my basement.
Yeah, I love when homie's in his basement. The backgrounds are always beautiful. I got hella light glare right now.
I know.
But it's definitely not A1 quality, but it's you're gonna laugh at least one time.
Stimulate your eyeballs.
Yeah. But yeah, you can check that out on the YouTube, as well as multiple deer, giant catfish getting hand fished, antelope getting killed, elk coming out soon, turkeys, anything you guys want to know, it's on their YouTube. Exodus trail cams. We're going to get into the trail cam tip of the week, guys. It is the time of the year that everybody's getting their trail cams out, and this is this is probably the most popular time for tree branch picks known to man right now. Grass picks, tree branch picks. Something that we did that I want to suggest, when we killed our plot. And we
when
you killed the late season
the small
plot.
one. Oh.
Yeah. When we killed the plot and all that shit was bare dirt on that scrape tree, that was the best pictures we've ever gotten anywhere. So I'm thinking, if you have some extra weed killer or something, you have an area where you're getting blanks, wipe that shit out in front of that cam. Where we ran over the grass in front of one cam.
I sprayed up there too, yeah.
It actually kind of drawed the deer to that area to kind of frequent in that. Yeah, they're just kind of hanging out in that
they're
area.
bedding down now.
Yeah, they're bedding right there too on cam. But anyways, they're kind of hanging out in that area. So that's just kind of a trucking tip. If you have one that's just a nuisance on a field edge, you can go out there and weed whack that thing. But if it's like us in a couple of months, if you hang it early, there's going to be grass again. Just take a little Roundup and spray that area, and you're going to get really good pics. And for some reason, that bare spot is going to draw deer to come check it out, and you're going to get a picture of them. So that's just a little tip we did. We killed our food plot, and some of the best pictures I've ever gotten is on that cam. So, all right, you have next level.
Yeah, even though the bucks are getting to be full grown and getting ready to shed velvet here real soon, which is almost crazy, it's still very important to keep that mineral out all year if you're able to through your hunting season. I know some states allow you to put mineral out, but you have to remove it before hunting season or not hunt around it. But if you're able to have it out there, it is still vital to keep it out year round. That way they know it's there and available, and they can come back to it when they need it, before the rut or after the rut, late season.
Yeah.
It's very substantial to have that
and
available
those fawns
all
are
year
starting
round.
to get out and move a lot right now. Mm-hmm. And getting that nutrients before winter, right now is definitely
got to get that body weight up
before they get that first breed. And it's good to have that mineral and extra feed laying around there. So you can check everything out at Next Level. What is it? What's the website?
NextLevelDeer.com.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't want to kill it, though. NextLevelDeer.com. All right, that's it. Let's get into the show. All right, guys, we got Arron from the Fall Podcast on the line, man. Appreciate you staying up late and ripping this one with us.
Hey, man, no problem. I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's always a good time when we got together. You got to come on a Legend of the Fall episode and talk about your absolute mega freak that you killed. And the listeners really enjoyed that episode. People really enjoy the Legend of the Woods. I said Legend of the Fall. Yeah. Legend of the Woods. I don't even know what my own podcast names are. Jeez.
I like that series, man. I really like how you guys roll that out, and it's really cool to hear those stories.
Yeah, I think during the off season, people want to talk about what they killed, and gives a good time where people aren't maybe 100% tactic driven, to kind of just want to absorb some deer talk. People just chilling and talking about deer. But excited to have you on this episode and kind of break down some more tactical style with you and talk about the time period from the October 15th to the 31st or the 30th. I'm going to go to the 30th just because I feel like that's the light switch around us. But before we do that, go ahead and let the listeners know who you are, mention your podcast and where they can find it. It's one of our go-to listening podcasts, so we highly suggest that you guys listen to it. If you enjoy us, you'll definitely enjoy yours. So go ahead and let that rip.
I appreciate that, man. So, my name's Arron Bleise, born and raised in Central Michigan. Still live there to this day. I love Michigan. It's a good place to get all 4 seasons. I love the fall. Hence why my podcast is called the Fall Podcast, because I just love the fall time. For a day job, I'm a television producer with the Kiefer Brothers and Humanimal. Anything you guys want to watch or consume any of that, we're on YouTube. We're on Outdoor Channel. Just follow Humanimal or Kiefer Brothers. You'll see all that. I've been doing that for the last 10 years. I run a camera for Casey Kiefer. I've done that for 10 years over his shoulder. Him and I are attached at the hip all the time. And him and I actually, I don't even look at him as a boss anymore. He's, one of my best friends. Got a really good relationship. And so that's really cool. Same with Chris, his brother. It's just a good core group of guys. But I've been running camera for them, and then I do all their editing. So I'm the senior producer, executive producer for their shows, and that's kind of me in a nutshell, I guess, if you want to say.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the show. I really liked your video that come out. It's cool to to hear the story and then actually get to see the footage coming together. It's been a while since I watched that again. I like to go back and watch it like 3 or 4 times. Because then I'm like, oh, I really like that shot. Or like the first time you're so overwhelmed with what's going on. And then like the third time you know what's coming up. So you're like, oh, look at that. You just pick up stuff that you don't know. And as a guy who films and stuff, you're always looking for unique stuff or stuff you can add. And it's cool to see someone out there that you kind of like their style and like them as a person to kind of pick up some cool stuff from. But the filming side and the people that you film, I really enjoy the camaraderie that you can see on the footage, too. That's cool. Because a lot of times it's like a camera guy that they really don't know that's just kind of with them. And you get the reaction of the camera guy, but you don't get that like hunting buddy reaction that you get with you guys. So,
and that's something we really wanted to implement like 2 years ago. And honestly, I stole the idea from Jared Scheffler. I mean, I've watched Whitetail Adrenaline since they began in like 2008 or 9. I have all of his DVDs, and when he started implementing his POV back at the camera guy, and it was a conversation, I'm like, God damn, that is so cool, because that's how it is if that camera wasn't there. If you have another buddy with you, that's how you guys are conversing all the time, in my instances anyway. So we sat down and I told Casey, I'm like, man, I really think we need to like implement a POV on the camera and let it dead roll and get our conversations. And every show you watch, it's like the hunter just looking at the camera, talking, hey, this is, and we still do that from time to time. But we try to take it a step further of like, why not have a conversation between the two of us and pop back and forth from camera to camera like we would normally have a conversation if the camera wasn't there. And a lot of people have like really loved that idea, and we're going to keep implementing it. And it's been really cool and a different dynamic.
Yeah, I love Whitetail Adrenaline too. I always mention it like that's like top 3 whitetail content that I can absorb.
100%.
Just because it's so like different and weird and funny, and
funny,
radical, and it's like this. We podcasted with Chancey, and that dude's like my spirit animal. It's like living the dream,
I agree.
I told him that. I think I told him that. Yeah. I was like, dude, you're like my spirit animal. I said, if I could pick one celebrity hunter to hunt with, I would pick you. Like, if I could go 100%. With anybody for a week, I would go with Chancey just for a week. I don't even care if I hunt. I just want to roll around in that van and just chill with them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But, I really like that aspect. And like I said, you guys are doing an awesome job. So just keep crushing it, dude. Like,
appreciate it,
that
man.
Camaraderie. Me and homie filmed together, and I really like being there. I don't think I don't think I could work with just a camera guy. Like, it would be nice to have a guy that just like followed you to the woods and got like the B-roll shots, and then you like sent him home.
You just leave now.
like you can leave, and then I got my dude up in the tree with me that I can hunt with. But it's hard for like you're walking in trying to set up your hunting too as a camera guy. You're trying to get all the B-roll shots. Like, you need to hire someone to get all the B-roll shots, and then when you're hunting, it's just you two, filming and hunting.
Yeah, with a camera guy, you would just be like pretty flat.
Yeah, you'd be like,
you don't have all the inside jokes and knowledge that you have with your buddy.
Yeah.
To be out there messing around with.
Yeah.
And you know how much we're hunting every fall too. So you want someone there that's like you're with them all the time. Like Casey and I, that's what we do for a job. So it's like we're in the truck together all the time. We're either sleeping in a tent next to each other all the time. Like, we don't leave each other's side hardly at all from October 1, unless we go on drop, it's September 1 to like January 1. You know what I mean? So it's like our wives always tell us, they're like, you spend more time with each other than you spend with us. Like, it's like split down the middle basically.
Yeah. So,
you definitely want to have a good rapport with that person and want to not hate them and not like get sick of them, so it's like, and it just got to the point now where him and I've been doing it for so long. There's no question whether, if I'm doing my job or he's doing his job, we just know, and we know what we're going to do. It's kind of like, if like a basketball analogy or something, like a point guard and a shooting guard or something that, they're going to be there. You just throw the ball and they're going to catch it, like, kind of thing. So it's like, it's nice to have, and we know what, we know the ins and outs of each other, and we know each other really well. So it's just really cool to have a person like that you're not sick of all the time.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
Yeah,
gotta. All right, well, got the introduction out of the way. Let's get into the nitty gritty.
Sure.
It's October 15th. We've killed a couple bucks then. But man, it's just a tough time out there. So let's break it down into we want to do like 5-day increments.
Yeah,
that sound good. Let's do 5-day increments. So
yep,
you're hunting somewhere. You're with Casey. You're out there. You got the 15th to the 20th, and that's where you're going to be hunting. What is your go-to game plan, and what are you guys trying to do within those 5 days to get it done?
Well, I guess it honestly really depends on where we're at. Obviously, I'm going to kind of break it down something that's fresh in my mind, and it's farm country hunting. I had it happen to me last year, and here in Michigan, and on the 19th. So you said 15th to the 20th. On the 19th, I had 3 shooters I was going for on my farm, and he started daylighting frequently. So what my whole thing is my whole approach to it is try to figure out where the does are going to be, and I want to be there because the 15th through the 20th, they're starting to nudge a little bit. They're starting to figure out. You're going to see probably more of the younger bucks just getting frisky and being idiots and stuff like that. But the bigger deer are, at that latter part, around the 19th, 20th, they're really going to start showing themselves. I'm going to try to figure out where these does are going to congregate. I'm going to start sitting on some scrapes, some hot signs, some scrapes, or I'm honestly going to sit, if I can see a long way, I'm going to sit on a field edge and I'm going to observe, because really I'm going to gear up for really the 20th through the 28th. I know you want to do five days, but like those 8 days, to me, here where I'm at in Michigan, even in different areas where we're at, but specifically here, is unbelievable. It is so hot that I would rather hunt those 8 days than November, to be honest with you. Hopefully that answers your question, but I'm just going to try to figure out what they're concentrated, and I'm just going to, set downwind of, where these doe areas are, and just wait for them to come by. Now, that's probably not the cool answer, but that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I've had success with, really.
Yeah, I like that. You're using that time. You know that the hot time's coming. That's kind of how we hunt that time, too.
Yeah.
You want to be in the game, but you don't want to be, on the 50-yard line. You
For
want to,
sure.
You want to be kind of playing closer to your end zone, kind of scoop, watch the cams, scoop some intel, see what deer are in your area or any new deer showing up. We did some observation sets last year, collected a lot of data on those, even in the rut, hunting somewhere where you feel like you got a good chance to kill, but you can also see a long ways, especially if it's a piece that you don't know a lot about. I feel like you can really, really put some pieces together doing that.
Yeah, and I really think you can do a lot of harm in some areas as well if you don't have good exit strategies. Entry's good as well, but I've got something in my head. Pictures came up that like a hunt I had last year, corner of around this time, in this time frame, and I was about 80 yards in from the destination food, but I was like, I was probably 100 yards from the bedding, and the bedding was over a big draw, so I couldn't actually see the thick bedding. I was just on the other side of the draw, and all the deer funneled past me, okay? And deer, when I need to be getting down out of the stand, deer are still coming. And as I'm getting ready to get down, twig snap, look over, pick the binos up. Here comes a pretty decent buck. I don't know if he was a shooter. It was pretty dark. But make sure you're in an area where you can have some good exit out of your stand, or, you have a back door or something like that, because you can do some harm in some of these areas.
Yeah, that's like the third time we've heard that. And that's something I feel like, maybe I just feel like a lot of people don't think about it. It's because it's something that we don't think about. Like when you're in the tree and you don't kill the buck, it's almost like, all right, I'm going to get down. I'm going to try to get out of here, go home. The kids are there. The wife's waiting on me. Haven't ate yet, or you're, trying to make a game plan for tomorrow. You're like, well, I'm going to get down. I'm going to try to pull this cam, do that. And you're not really thinking about that exit. You're not really trying to be, especially with you got your camera gear, everything's got to come down just like us. And it seems like we always put it up quieter than we take it down. Like when you take it down, you're just trying to get the shit in there and get out of there, because you got so much stuff, and I feel like that is an overlooked time period and then, like you said, that exit, I feel like, okay, the scrape tree, for instance, do you think we should exit the same way if that deer does it? I feel like we should.
Yeah.
Exit the same way.
I do too.
Yeah.
Because
that's something we hadn't talked about, though.
No, and that's when we were talking
That's a good point, though.
Yeah.
When we were talking to Justin, I was like, we need to not go up on that field edge.
Yeah.
Because that's where the deer's bedding.
Yeah.
That we're hunting.
Yeah.
And we've been messing that up for 2 years.
Yeah, so we need to exit the same way we go in.
Mm-hmm. Because we're going to see them if they're that way on the new exit.
You can't see the other way that
No.
but it's just easier to go that way.
Exactly.
You know.
So were you guys, I guess I don't know the story you guys are talking about. Were you entering a stand and then exiting a different way than you were entering?
No, we were, a little bit, but we were entering a stand and we're hunting this spot and we're like, man, this is the best spot on this piece, but we haven't killed there. And we haven't had the opportunity to kill there. And last year we went into some hunts where they should have been there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And we were having them edge of daylight like the day before, and then a couple of days later after we were in there, and we're just trying to figure out why we weren't getting it. And it's because we feel like they were seeing us walk in, and we feel like that the stand was 20 yards further than it should have been. And we moved the stand 20 yards back and changed the entrance route, and we don't know if it's going to work 100%, but we feel way more confident about it because we moved the cam back by that tree and realized that a lot of the deer were backdooring us, and they were going to wind us on a northwest before they even got to that field, when we're thinking they're coming out to be to the west of us, but they're actually coming out more behind. So that's what moving a trail cam 10 feet can tell you. Like, it can tell you a lot.
Yep.
That's just one situation where we hadn't talked about that, so I just used this time to be like, how are we going to exit it and try to... We normally think the exact same, but there's some circumstances where we think the complete opposite. And we got to really, weigh it out, what are we going to do here? So... I'm glad it wasn't opposite, because it would have been a 28-minute conversation.
I was when we were talking to Justin about that was the exact scenario I was thinking of, is getting out that way.
Yeah, getting out and trying to figure out what am I going to do going back door on this, on this deer. So but I like that. You're just trying to feel the cards, make an idea of what you got going on, and go from there. So let's get into the 20th to the 25th. I'm going to cheat you on the 28th. We're going to save that for
you're good.
I feel like the 25th here starting to get pretty solid, but when that 25th to 30th, it's a different ball game out there. So what are you doing from the 20th to the 25th? Let's say you're let's do Michigan. You're in Michigan. It's the 20th to the 25th. What are you doing in Michigan in that time period?
Okay, so I'm hoping there's some sort of temperature drop for sure, because here in Michigan we could definitely get, back in 2018 we got a huge cold front come through on October 8th, and it was so cold. And then, it gets up to November and it's 60. It's what the hell? But I'm hoping that there's some sort of cold front coming through. Let's say there is. What I'm doing is I'm still kind of doing the same thing. I'm sitting from afar a little bit if I can see. If I can see, I'm going to sit from afar a little bit. And I know I've got these deer in this area, and on one of my particular farms, that's I know where they come out. I know where they go in. I know where they feed. I've got them pretty well patterned year to year. So I've got a select few stands that I know that I'm going to put a sit or two in. And I know if I don't see them in that time, I got to move. I got to go. I just have to. And so I'm going to do that, or I might throw myself a curveball and I can glass from a distance from a truck too. I will take a night off or a morning off. A lot of times what I'll do, last year, I would take my daughter to daycare in the morning, and I'd come back and it'd be, right at first light, and I'd just cruise the roads and I'd be seeing bucks and bucks and bucks moving. And I'm okay, so I want to narrow in on where they're, because it's farm country. I'm hunting wooded fence rows and little wood lots. And so I'm trying to narrow in where they're, coming in and out, basically. So once I figure that out, I know that I have a window of literally, for me, it's about 5 days. If I can find him, the buck that I want, I'm only going to see him for 5 days. That's the way I put it. Because I should say even 3 days, because I got to get on him quick and I got to make it happen, because he's going to find the doe, and he's going to be locked down for 36 to 48 hours. And then after that, I might not see him ever again. And usually I don't. So the 20th to the 25th is by far, to me, the 5 days that mean the most. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to pinpoint them. And when I do see them, I use the Ante de Cristo method and, go now. You have to go now. And I do throw caution to the wind a little bit, but sometimes I will push it. And if I need to get into an area like my 1 acre spot, I know they're going to end up there. I will push it and I'll get in there because my 1 acre is the end of the road, basically. That's what I should call it, because the deer, they come in from a certain area or certain way, and they come in from the south and never go north. Do not know why. They will not, and they hardly will ever come from the north. But I've seen year after year, bucks come in here to check does from the 20th to the 25th. They'll come from the south. They'll check and see if they're there. They'll spend about 10 seconds if they're not there, and then they're going back south. So that's what I've really honed in on. And in my instance, I've got them pretty patterned to where I know where they're coming in and know where they're going out. But I've done a lot of work in the off season as far as timber stand improvement and way that I can manipulate the movement going in and out of there to where I've got them pretty bottlenecked down. It's just then it's hard to hunt with, like I said, if the wind is bad. I only get one shot. You know what I mean? And it's then I'm leaving to go work. The 25th, we're usually leaving by the 25th to go to Illinois or Iowa or wherever it might be. So I'm starting to turn the gas down, or put the pedal down and hit the gas a little bit. But I really need to get eyes on the buck first, and more than likely I will get eyes on him in a couple days there. But I know I have to make it happen in about a 3-day span before he does find a doe, and then I'll never see him again. It's just how it happens.
That is something that I probably would never do, is be road scouting in the morning like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just think maybe where we're at, I don't know. It'd be a lot harder here, I think, to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like if we were going to take a night, a hunt off, that it would be more of a boots on the ground approach to it than
he's trying to target. He's trying to find the deer going back in, late on a cold front, and then make the move the next day, which I think is a great strategy. But like you said, for your ground's got to set up properly to do that, and you got to kind of have an idea of where they're going to be doing that. Like you said, over the years you've kind of had an idea, but if you have kind of a good area you can glass or make a move on, or even do another observation set that time period way off where you can see a lot of ground, I like that strategy. And then I also like that you're saying you got to move instantly, because you got to. That is a time period around here where there's new bucks showing up all the time. That deer could be there one day, or he could be there the whole rut. You have really no idea what that deer's got going on. Unless you have some previous history from him. And if you have some previous history of what that deer normally does, that can kind of tell you how long you have to hunt them. And we know there's some deer that we have 4 days, 3 days, or 2 days he's going to be here, or he's going to be on the farm. He's literally going to run through, and that's it. You just got to be there that day. So
that's, sorry to interrupt you here, but
ahead.
I've got another scenario. I've got another farm here that's big timber. So it's 15 minutes away from my 1 acre farm. That's farm country, and it's big timber. My approach there is we've got a couple secluded areas, one in particular that is a white oak tree in the middle of a ton of popple trees. Okay, thick popple, overgrown popple trees, and it's on an edge, a hard edge, where it transitions from popple to swamp. When this time, if I don't have a bead on something here, because my farm country, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's easier to hunt. I like seeing the deer more, and I like making a move, being more I know he's there, I'm gonna go. This is more of in the big woods, it's more of kind of guess and check in a way. I'm getting aggressive and kind of going for broke, but I'm gonna go to that tree. There's a big white oak that usually drops every year. And same instance, I'm in a transition zone on a hard edge, and I'm about 150 yards off of bedding. And it just seems like the deer file past. And now I wish I would have known about this tree earlier. I just found this tree about a year and a half ago, and I haven't been able to throw many sits at it. But That is one instant. And then there's another instant where we have a big white oak ridge. In the years that it's oak tree or the acorns are dropping good, that is the time to put your butt in the seat there. And that is more, it's like hilly, and there's a saddle, like a hog's back kind of, and right on the top of that hog's back, not not just me, but like my buddies, they have killed some really good bucks in this one stand. It's a set stand right there. But in that time frame, man, that is when it's hot, and it is every year. It seems like you just got to be there to capitalize, and hopefully the weather will allow it as also.
Yeah, I think the 20th to the 25th, that is one of the best times to key in on past data like that, like past trail cam data, past sightings, because the deer are some deer might be kind of changing up, like I said, moving, and some deer might be doing what they always do that time period. And we had a lot of activity from like the 18th to the 20th, going on to the 25th there on the public on the east side.
Yep.
It kind of just turned on during that time period, and we went in there. There's no sign, and then after that time period, there's sign everywhere.
Yep.
And you put that in the bank in the back of your head, and you go, okay, I'm gonna be prepared for this for next year. So if you had a spot like that where you walked into and the second week of October there was nothing, and then you go back to the third week of October and it's lit up, something happened in that time period. Something moved in or something got fired up, so that might be a good area to check out.
For sure.
That white oak tree, they might be in there. Might be some does in that area. They might like to put sign in that area. Might be some scrapes there. And transition lines like that are always good to hunt. I don't know what it is. The deer just like them. There's just something about it. And
I got a question for you guys. You guys are hunting public land. Probably, I'm guessing probably more big timber. What is your approach on that 20 through 25th? Like, I mean, what have you found success in, and what spots are you like really honing in on?
The 20th to the 25th, man, it's kind of like a crapshoot for us. If we don't have past data, we're just going where we've seen does and we feel like we can get close to bedding. I don't think I've ever killed a buck from the 20th to the 25th. Have you?
Yeah, two.
What were you doing?
I was sitting over a scrape on one,
Scrape.
and actually a scrape on the other one.
Was
on
two
Sunshine.
scrapes?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Sunshine was over two scrapes.
Sunshine was textbook.
Yeah, that was cold front.
Yeah, cold front.
And
that
then,
deer, we could have killed him in the morning and the evening.
Mm-hmm.
We were all over that.
And
So were
then,
they both evening hunts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Both.
then Ghost, I was sitting on a field edge over three scrapes, had a rain front come through, stopped raining. 10 minutes later, he's in the scrape.
Yeah.
Dude, I love hunting right after a rain.
Yeah.
Love it.
There's something about that. We've said that for years. There's something about that hour after rain, that time period. Like there's something like I don't know if it cools the weather off, or they want to get out and refreshing those scrapes, or what they want to do. But there's something you can even watch your trail cameras.
Yep.
And it rains, and boom, there's action. You're like, man.
I think it's
I
usually
just talked
cooler.
to Heath Cisco about this in a podcast.
Yeah. I just seen that you released that one. I got to listen. I love Heath.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Heath Heath is a legend, dude.
Yeah.
I've looked up to him for a long time. I'm so happy that he was willing to come on. He's such a great dude as well. But we talked about this, and my terminology is not right, but I threw out an instance about when Casey and I were in Missouri. I think it was 2017. I think it was 16 or 17, somewhere in there. We were going to a stand in the evening, and we're driving to the stand, and it starts downpouring, and a tornado touches down across the field. We watch it touch down, and we're like, holy shit. And it rained for like 10, 15 minutes solid. We just sat in the truck, waited it out, and it just stopped. And then the sun kind of started coming out. We're like, okay, let's get in. Got in the stand. Oh my Lanta, the deer come alive, and he killed a good buck that night. So afterwards, I'm like, why? I asked myself, why? What happened? I started researching. I'm like, after a rain, like why did deer move and stuff like that? The best thing I could come up with, a lot of people were talking about on forums and everything, and in articles, and the terminology, like I said, is way off. But what they were saying is basically when the rain stops and the earth kind of comes alive again, and it heightens their sinuses, their nose. It heightens it up and kind of opens up the cavities in there, and the deer can smell better. They feel better. It kind of gives them a bolt of like juice, like, I'm ready to go. Like, that's what everybody's been saying, and it happens in their face, in their nose, and it really gets them up and it makes them want to move. And I'm like, that makes sense. Okay.
Man, I feel like I can smell
that.
better after rain. Like, you can
Yeah.
smell
For sure.
that dirt and leaves and
that's why the deer will lick their nose to get some moisture on there and makes it pick up more scent.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a good thing I've never thought about, because even with like after a fresh rain, you can smell the grass.
Oh yeah.
You can smell the dirt. You can smell the leaves, the rows. Yeah. So that definitely maybe releases more odor molecules or something. We're getting into some scientific shit I don't understand, but it's cool.
Way over my pay grade.
It's cool to talk to guys that kind of have the same scenario. But there's just something about it. Like, if it's raining and you can get off work and you're like, shit, I'm gonna be in. Like, that's how I killed on October 15th. Right after high winds and rain. I go in there. It's one of the most beautiful nights. The sunset's beautiful. After that rain, it's still kind of cloudy, and then you kill a deer, and you're like, the shit is just magical out there. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I killed one of my best bucks in Michigan on October 1st. The night of October 1st, it rained all morning. It got done raining a little bit after noon. I got in the stand. Same kind of thing happened. It was just like, the woods comes alive. You can like smell the earth, and he showed up, his back to the wind, like he was coming from, the wind was going, like, over his back. It was really weird how he wasn't, he was going into a destination food, and I shot him at 18 yards, and I'm like, wow. Like,
nice. Maybe they just get
really
wet.
Cool.
And they're like, man, I gotta dry off.
That could be it too. Like, I gotta get up and move.
We're trying to be scientific as hell. Something
scientific.
super simple. They're like, dude, I'm wet as hell. You know how bad it is when you got like wet pants on? That's probably how I gotta shake this stuff off. Get out here, and move around. But all right, so let's get in. It's it's damn near everybody's dream time of the year. It's the 25th to the 30th, and this is when we have seen the best. I feel like the most daylight pictures we have on trail cam is in this time period, and we start seeing some good bucks start messing up. Had a lot of encounters this time, but you get close to Halloween every year. Shooter daylight Halloween somewhere.
Halloween night. It's
one trail cam. There's a shooter on it in the evening somewhere.
Yep.
But yeah, so let's cover the 25th to the 31st. What is your go-to plan of attack during this time period?
So my approach on this is I'm going to try to find a hot scrape. I'm really going to start honing in on scrapes, and the reason being is because that buffer window I told you about, the 23rd, 24th, 25th, I've seen good bucks locked down on does for 36 hours at that time. Once he breeds her, he's going to go try to find the next one. You know what I mean? Like, and it's usually, and you hear it from a lot of guys, and I've seen it here in Michigan or out of state, wherever we're at, it's usually the most dominant deer. Might not be the biggest rack buck, but he's the more mature deer is going to find that first hot doe, and he's going to have his way with her, and then he's going to go try to find another one. And where's he going to go? In my opinion, he's going to go start checking scrapes again. He's going to do his loop, so I'm going to try to hone in on, this is where I might take a little speed tour, I guess you want to call it, or whatever. I'm going to try to hone in on some of those scrapes that I had found in the preseason. And if I don't have cameras on them already, I'm going to see which ones are opened up. And then the ones that have the best sign on them, I'm going to do a hanging hunt right then. And I'm going to just find it. I'm going to go in with the stand and everything on my back. I'm going to find it, sit it, and, just keep jumping scrape to scrape if I have to. But I don't want to do too much harm. I will sit on a scrape that's hot. If I find a hot scrape, I'll sit on it for a couple days. It's probably getting hit after dark, but a lot of times I'll even take a camera in with me and put it on there after a sit or something like that, and just kind of monitor, see what's happening. But I'll sit on it. I'll give it some time. But 2 days or so, if nothing's really happened, then I'm starting to get antsy, and the curiosity is getting the best of me, and I'm like, okay, I got to get out of here. I got to figure out something else. Nothing's happening, because we are getting close to that magical time. and the pressure's on because once Halloween November 1 hits, it's a crapshoot. It's just like, hold on to your
the
seat.
deer could either
Hopefully
be
a doe's
there
gonna.
or a mile
Yep,
away. You have no idea.
yep.
Yep.
So that's kind of my philosophy in that 5-day stretch.
So you're
Try to
really
catch 'em
trying to
when
keen in on those hot scrapes and
Yep.
trying to get him trying to find a doe. That's we hunt a lot of scrapes that time.
Mm-hmm.
We start hunting a lot of doe bedding that time in the morning. But we're really watching for sign and trying to make a move. And we had really good luck the 30th last year setting up on good sign.
Yeah.
Had three bucks, 2 shooters, one really solid one. The hottest rut action we've seen all year, October 30th. Like rut, grunting, chasing,
full on,
running all over
No
the place, full on. That the buck roar, that brrr, like all the cool shit. October 30th in the evening, best rut. I think we just were in that area where a hot doe was, and every buck that was there was on her, and the shit was just popping, and this goes to 70 yards, 60 yards. Like, we were like, man, I feel like we should set right up on the top, but the sign's kind of down here on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like,
Yep.
well, we'll just kind of split the difference and set up closer to the sign in case something comes in and hits these scrapes.
and it was down off the ridge, like how they like to work that bottom
and these
quarter.
deer are right on top of the ridge, but they were going right after that doe, and it seems like the does work the top of the ridge, and the bucks kind of skirt a little bit over, what I mean? So they were just on that doe, and if that doe would have turned right 20 yards earlier instead of running to the next ridge and just letting us watch them.
I mean, and they were running like 30.
Yeah, they were running, full
Yeah, I mean, they were
speed.
hauling ass.
Yeah. But yeah, we had really good luck, hunting the sign, and I feel like that buck, you get in that doe bedding, close to the doe bedding area, and everybody says downwind of the doe bedding area, and that's great. But if you get downwind of the doe bedding area and there's a lot of buck sign there, I feel like you're really in the chips. Because more than likely, that buck's with that doe or in that doe bedding area, and he's made all that sign recently. Like, you can tell if it's fresh, and if it's looking fresh, then that buck's been in there. And if you're downwind of doe bedding, you start collecting the dots. Okay, that buck could be in this bedding area with this doe right now.
For sure.
And when she comes out, he's tending her, but also making all this sign right here, close. Because I feel like that is the most aggressive time that they are. They wanna fight. They wanna rub. They wanna scrape. They wanna breed, but they can't. There's nothing hot to breed, or there's very few to breed. There's not. Every doe ain't ready to go, so they're frustrated. They want to leave all that sign. And that's why people go out there and it's like, oh, the rut's on, there's sign everywhere. And that, to me, shows that it's getting close, but it's not time to go. When the rut's on, there's no sign. There's no fresh sign, Everything's just running. But
and that's something I've kind of come head into here in farm country is, like I said, I've got wooded front rows and little wood lots. So it's like, once I know he's here on me for a day or 2 or 3, whatever it is, I got to go, because the thing is once he's done with that doe, he's going to leave unless he can find another one right here. And that's when I'm not going to see him again, because he's going to head to the next woodlot, or he's going to head to the next. So it kind of makes it frustrating, because here in farm country, the deer, I mean, their radius could be miles, at that time. It could be, wherever that doe is, he's going to go. His body's telling him he's got to go wherever he's got to go. Now, like the big woods where, my other farm, they're going to stick closer a little bit. They don't have to go as far. The deer density is a little higher. So I feel like I'm more in the game there. But so on the other side of the coin, if I'm hunting the big woods over there, I might not be as aggressive as hunting. I'll still hunt scrapes, but I might not try to go right away. I might try to be a little more passive, really try to get that fine line of, don't get right in. You still got a little bit of time, but you still want to be in the game kind of feel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like we're the same way. We're trying to really get in the juice, but not in the juiciest crevice.
Yeah.
Not in the seam.
Not in the seam.
Not in the seam. But yeah, we're trying to get in there and, play the game. And I'm also, that time period, I'm also trying to get a glimpse of that giant to make a move
Yep.
on. You know, you're
Yep.
still trying to hunt, you know, where you can, man, if I could just see him. And that seeing the deer helps you so much more than a trail cam pick. You know, you could have, I'd rather see a deer one time than have 25 trail cam pics of them.
Yeah.
Seeing is believing, man.
Yeah, seeing a deer work through an area, even if it's not your target deer, like just seeing a mature
Yes.
buck work through the area is better than 10 trail cam pics of your buck. Like, you can see how that deer work through there and use that and be like, okay, if my buck comes through here, most of the time it's going to be pretty much the same way or same, you know, he's
Yep.
going to be using the ground kind of the same area. But
So I got a question for you. I'm gonna stop you.
yeah,
I got a question for you guys. You're in a stand. You're in this time frame, 25th to the 30th. You see a mature buck do this. Do you see him? What is your next move?
Well,
What it
after
should
last
be,
year in
yeah.
the rut, it should be get your ass down and move to wherever you seen that deer.
yeah.
Right.
That's what the answer should be, but to be straight up honest, that isn't what we do every time.
Yeah.
We need to we need to get better on that, but we need that. We know we need to do it, but we don't do it. Like, we question ourselves of like, man, we think we're in the spot, but our gut tells us to be over there, but we don't go do it. So this
I'm
year,
the same way.
that's literally what we do. We're going with our gut all year. If something feels right, we're going. If we have data that says do not go in this place, it's absolutely trash, and we're feeling it, we're just gonna hunt it. Because I got away from that, and that's when I was just slaughtering deer, when I was just feeling it. I'd text Homie, oh, I'm going in killing, and then I would kill. You know, what I mean? Like, it was magical. You know, I had shit. I was just feeling it. You know, I'm like,
Yep.
oh, I'm gonna have a good hunt. This shit's gonna be off the chain. It's the 8th, you know, or the 9th. I'm about to have the best hunt of my life, and I'd be in the area where I knew, and we've got so in depth on running the trail cams, collecting the data, and really and that all can help, but it can also take you away from the spots like, oh, there's a buck over there. We never seen a deer over there. We don't have any trail cam pictures of a deer over there. And then there's another buck over there. You're like, shit. All the data said don't go there, but
How did it go? A doe come out with a buck behind her.
well, we
and
know what
then-
the true story is now.
Well, yeah.
we can't,
But
yeah.
there was a doe on the hillside, and then she filtered out, circled back in, and the buck did the same thing.
Yeah.
And then another buck about 20 minutes later come across an open hayfield, went
Yeah.
into this timber, and then about another 20 minutes later, same thing happened.
Yeah.
So there was 3 bucks over there,
3 shooter deer.
and we're just sitting there from 8 to 11:30 watching all this happen. And after the second one, we're like, okay, we should get down and go over there. But then we're like, okay, there's already been 2 bucks go in there. Like, what's the chances of a third one going in there? But, I mean, lo and behold, the fourth one's the one that you need.
Yeah, and what had happened is, you know, there was 4 deer that was on that one doe, and one of them got shot.
So there would have been
Oh, I
4
gotcha.
deer.
Yeah, there would have been 4 deer, and we just learned here recently that one of them got shot, and there would have been four bucks. So if we would have went over there, and that dude wouldn't have been there and shot that deer, we would have had the best season of our life. You know what I mean? So that one move can really change. So that's something that we're going to try. And, like, we are not against moving and hanging stands.
No, we do it.
We do that every day, 2 or 3 times a day. Like, that's not a big deal for us.
Yep.
You know, we did it. We hung and hunt 18 days straight. You know, there's like 18 or 20 different areas that we hunted, you know? So that's not a huge deal for us to go do that. It's just like,
the chances
none of the data that we've collected is saying that we should be over there.
we know nothing about that little
we know
block
nothing
of timber.
about that block. We think we're in the right area. We have no
And
data.
I know it's the rut, but the chances of 2 bucks being together doing that, or 3 together doing that, or even 4,
and getting over
you're
there
just
and
like, come
hanging,
on.
and you're like, okay, but yeah, now we know, like, we got to get over there. There's a reason they're over there, and it definitely would have changed the outcome of our season, especially if that guy wouldn't have killed that, you know, the biggest deer that was with him. It could have been awesome, but definitely definitely a tactic that I think people say a lot to do, but they don't actually do it, and they miss out on opportunities just like we do. Because it's
Sure.
and that's why I said this year we're just going with our gut. We're just hunting. I want to have fun. I just want to hunt, and if I'm feeling something, I'm feeling it. If I feel like going balls deep in the back, I'm gonna do it. If I feel like hunting the corner, I'm gonna do it. If I feel like going to the new lease, I'm gonna do it. Like, if I feel like I need to be somewhere, because that's how I was in the past. I didn't have all this data. I didn't have all these trail cams. I didn't have all this past intel. I was just kind of feeling it. Like, oh yeah, I'm feeling over here. There's been some good sign there. And
yeah, because for you to go to the back at your lease on October 15th, like, you had to be feeling that to go back there.
Yeah.
I
was feeling
like,
it, yeah.
That's kind of radical.
And then you smash. And then the year before, you do it on October 15th, when that's the best spot on the farm. You shouldn't be there. And then you smash at 4 in the afternoon.
For you to be there on October 15th is kind of radical from what I've seen,
You're just like, oh, yeah, I'm going in. I'm feeling this. And then, boom, you kill, so.
It's those moves that pay off, though, man. I agree. I think that's my biggest demise as well, is like not pushing the envelope, not going with my gut enough. Like, I'm way too passive. Yeah. Like, I agree with you guys. We should create like a hashtag, go with your gut this year, 21. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm going to do the same thing. I want to get back to it being like fun again. Like, not that hunting's not fun, but like, I was always the guy that like, I got to wear rubber boots. I've got to do this, this, and this. And my like scent regimen, it's like, I do have a scent regimen, but it's like a dumbed down version now. Like,
so is mine. Mine's
so
like
much work.
The trashiest it's ever been in my life. Like, my scent regimen was so strict. I was so radical, and now it's like, it's trash compared to what it was. It's absolutely trash.
After 2 weeks in the season, mine goes to trash anyway. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's because it's work. It's like, just have fun with it. I always feel like when October 1 hits, I'm always in a rush every freaking day. It's like, I could be getting ready at 10 o'clock in the morning to go do an evening hunt, and I feel like I'm getting rushed. It's like, just relax, man, and just go do your thing and go with your gut, like you guys said. I recently, last year, really started doing like a hanging hunt, like taking a stand in my back and like just going and throwing sits in different spots. And I freaking loved it. Like, loved it. And I'm going to do it almost exclusively this year in Michigan, at least. My 1 acre spot's hard to do because it's just so small. So I've got set stands already, but like my big woods family farm piece, dude, it's hanging. I haven't even hung a stand up there this year. I haven't even been up there to hang a camera. I'm not hanging cameras. I'm not doing anything up there. I'm going on straight woodsmanship. Like, let's get in, figure these deer out from the ground level, and let's have fun again. That's my approach.
That's badass. Yes. Yeah, we got a brand new lease, no stand. We're just be like, well, we can hang. We walked it, and we could get in this tree. We could get in this tree. It's just such a game changer when you're just like, oh, I could just take my
go anywhere.
I can just go anywhere.
But one thing I was gonna say is, think about if you did go out and hang and hunt, and the whole scenario we're talking about is you see some movement, and then you tear down, you go over there, you rehang, and you get it done.
You'd be the smartest guy in the world.
Killing a deer on a hanging hunt's pretty badass anyway, but tearing down, moving, going with your gut, doing the whole feeling it thing, that's going to be quadruple.
That's elite level.
Yeah, like, I mean.
That's going to be sweet, yeah.
So just, if you need to do it, just do it. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm going to think about you guys when I need to get down and be like, man, those guys, they're yelling in my ear, and I'll just get your ass down and go.
Yeah.
I won't be thinking the same thing, but like, Aaron's going to be pissed if we don't get down and don't kill this deer, dude. I know right when we got down and hang up, where if I can see where I was hunting before, that's going to really mess with me, because there's going to be something over there. I'm going to be like, never doing this again.
All we ended up seeing that morning, Aaron, was probably a 3.5-year-old buck, about 46.5 inches, slobbering all over himself.
The scrappiest 8-pointer that was turned into a 7 you ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Just slobbering, drooling all over the place. But came into 8 yards and looked right into my soul. And he was like, "You gonna shoot me, man?" I'm like, "God, dude, you're as safe as hell right now. You're the safest."
You're trying to put points on his burrs and everything. Like, what's he got?
When he was running in, I'm like, "Oh, maybe a shooter." Nah, maybe. Yeah, you're gonna have to call it.
Yeah.
I was the
Cody's
camera
like,
guy.
shooter, or Cody's like, buck. I was like, all right, is it a shooter? He's like, I don't know. I was like, man, just give me one side or the other. Yeah or no. He's like, it's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you, bro.
It's the last day out here.
It's the last day. This is the last.
I had that.
Oh.
I had that last year, man. I had a buck come in, and he wasn't a day over 2.5 years old, and I'm trying to put age on him every step he has come in. And I'm like, oh my God, he's getting bigger, And then he'll like stop and turn his head, and you're like, oh, actually, he looks pretty good. Yeah, he might.
Yeah.
Then he turns his head back around, he's got milk on his lips, and you're like, shit, I can't do that.
Last year, I knew the buck was young, and I was like, shooting him. He turned. I seen 10 points. I'm like, okay, he's dead. I'm like, and then he's walking in. I'm like, those brows are weak as hell. He picked his head up. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's decent. He turned sideways. I'm like, The whole time I'm like, I'm killing this thing. Like, I got to make a decision quick. Or,
what's your buffer? Like, what's your yardage buffer of like if that does go down, you're like, he gets a 25. He's like, yep, we're doing it. It's that last little like push you over the edge. Do you have a buffer?
I would say if anything's in 30 and I'm on the edge, it depends. It depends on what time of the year it is and depends the circumstances. Last year, I probably would have went 10 inches smaller. And I killed like a 120. A 110 come in, shit would have looked tasty as hell at that time, bro. I've been getting my ass just handed to me. Just seen a 190, but 110 looking tasty out there.
I'm in the same boat, man. I've hunted this 1 acre farm for since 2016 now, and I missed a good buck last year. That'll be on our TV show. And then say that kind of instance where I was telling you about, and I missed him on October 19th, and he was on a doe that day. And crazy story, I can tell you if you want. But the same instance, I haven't killed a buck on this farm yet, and I've done so much work on it. I've hit a buck, couldn't find him, a 4-year-old, and now it's like, man, 100-inch, like 2.5-year-old. Might get one just to be like, get the monkey off my
icebreaker.
Back. Like, yes, I need that. Like,
I hadn't killed a deer on public in forever, and we hadn't killed a deer off this piece, and so much work. And then after you kill it, I'm like, I'm so glad I killed that damn deer. Like we were putting the pieces together on how many opportunities we had on even like borderline bucks last year, and just wasn't a lot. We had a lot of energy going into last year. We were jacked up as hell, and it just, kind of, we were on them. It just kind of fell short, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I think the heat really messed with us,
too. The heat really messed with us. But, all right, man. Well, we don't want to take up your whole night. We appreciate you coming on, dude. This has been awesome. Like I said, we need to do it again, and hopefully you kill another absolute legend this year. We can have you on Legend of the Woods.
Yes.
I hope so. My chips are all in the Illinois basket this year.
That's a good place to put them.
Yep, I've yet to kill a buck in Illinois, and that's where I'm really gonna put a lot of my time in. So we'll see.
Tell you what, you kill that 2.5-year-old 110 up there, we'll have you on a Legend Series again.
Hell yeah, man! I will do it.
The 1 acre buck.
Yeah,
I like it.
You'll be the first people I call.
Hell yeah! All right, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed that episode covering the 15th through the 31st of October. Some of the best hunting can be done in that time, I think. Some of the worst hunting can be done at that time, too, if you got bad weather, hot weather, and you don't have bucks working in daylight. So, like I said, there's a really good tactics. That's kind of the time of the year. You just need to really fill it out, get ready for the rut. If you haven't got it done by then, it's time to start hunting those rut areas, start thinking about that because, like I said, those bucks could be gone at any moment. But you got anything?
Yeah, just like you said, how there's always a shooter on Halloween night. I feel like when we have no kids to go and go trick-or-treating and we're actually able to hunt,
no shooters.
No shooters are going to be out there.
Last 5 years, had kids, had to go trick-or-treating, shooter every Halloween night.
Yes.
It's like clockwork. One of the cams is popping about 6.
It's
shooter.
It's a ritual now.
Yeah.
It's a ritual until we're out there.
Yeah. The one Halloween it snowed like 2 inches. I'm like, oh my god, giant shooter.
Yeah.
Where we would been. I'm like, oh god, look at
I don't know where we would have been, but
All right, just like always, try to do the right thing. Try to leave a legacy. We love you, and Whitetail Legacy is out.